Ahoy! Captain Benzie here, coming at you from London Heathrow Terminal 3. Yes, we're going from video games to being a travel vlog. I'm kidding, that's not going to happen. Ultimately, I've just come to the end of my 3-week stint here, visiting friends and family, getting employment opportunities and all that sorted out. And I thought I'd just take a nice little seat off in a quiet area of the airport. I have had to restart this a couple of times with loud stuff going past, though, so if anything else does go past, tough. We're going to have to deal with that. Hopefully you can see the planes in the background and all that as well. I thought it was quite a nice little area. But ultimately what I wanted to do was just talk. Before I came out here, I asked you guys just to send me some questions. Stuff that you wanted to get the answers to, just random bits and bobs. Like an FAQ sort of chat session. And that's ultimately what I thought I would kill some time here at the airport just doing for you guys. So I don't actually have all the documents, but I do remember an awful lot of the questions, so what I thought I would do is go through the ones that I have off memory, and if you recognise your question, obviously drop the details down below, and I'll see if I can edit it and put like flashy graphics saying, you know, thank you so-and-so for asking this one. So, of course, the first and most obvious question that a lot of people ask is, what on earth am I doing in Zimbabwe? Well, jump back to 2016. In 2016, I was working for a travel company in the UK called Saga Holidays. As part of my training, so they do a lot of ongoing training, I went out to Africa, 5 nights in South Africa, 4 nights in Zimbabwe, just to sort of get a feel for some of the product and the hotels and that we use as a company. Cape Town was amazing. I loved Cape Town, but Zimbabwe sort of really took my breath away, and talking to some of the guys there, I was like, oh, this place is amazing. Then the third night I got off the tour bus, utterly tired beyond all belief. You know, we're coming to the end of a 9-day trip and just exhausted. Just on a major safari in Wangi National Park, and there in front of me is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. And she works at the lodge. Turns out she's actually the manageress's daughter. But we kind of got to talking, and we kept talking. And when I went back to the room just to freshen up before dinner, I'm sitting there and I've just had a shower, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror going, what on earth are you doing? Like, you know, you have a crush on this incredible woman, but she lives in Zimbabwe. So we kept talking and talking and talking, and when I went back to the UK, we continued talking, like a lot of long Skype calls and WhatsApp conversations. I actually managed to generate a £3,000 phone bill over the space of a few months, phoning through to Zimbabwe just to keep in contact. We did get that one sorted though, don't worry, I didn't actually have to pay that. A lot of that was just due to error on the hands of of my telephone company. But that was June 2016. In September 2016, I went out to Zimbabwe just for 9 nights to visit Carrie and just to get to talk to her and, you know, spend a bit of time with her and her family, just test the water. And on about day 6 of that little holiday, I got down one knee and I proposed. And then in October, so forgive me, there's a car going past. In October of 2016, so now about 4 months after I've met her, I moved out to Victoria Falls, and on November 4th, 2016, we were married. June to July, August, September, October, November. 5 months. 5 months, and we had been in the same country for less than 2 weeks together. You know, we'd been in the same country for less than 2 weeks. I get that that's a little bit fast, but, you know, it's been great. 3 years down the line, and I regret nothing. I love Zimbabwe as a country. It's a beautiful place to live. There's so many misconceptions about it, and one day I will do a video taking you guys around Victoria Falls just to showcase what it's all about and what it's like out there. But yeah, so that's how I met my wife, and since then I've worked as all kinds of different things in Vic Falls. You know, I've been like a website designer, I've designed menus and other graphical design for lodges, I've done reservations. I also worked for a destination management company where I've pretty much toured all of Zimbabwe and visited lodges, put together itineraries. So when you go into your travel agent, they go, oh, I don't know, I know nothing about Africa, let me email Captain Benzie. Of course they don't know me as Captain Benzie, but yeah. Get the point. So that's kind of what I do. So yeah, that's been the past 3 years and why I'm still in Zimbabwe. Yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes, like with the power cuts and with financial situations, but the life is, it's beyond compare. People are so friendly, it's so free. Like to fall asleep listening to Hyena, to have an elephant, to wake up one morning where an elephant has charged through your front gate and is stripping fruit off the tree in your garden about 3 meters from your front door. It's something special, and it's something I don't think I could ever give up, and I know Carrie could never give up. But yeah, so that's the why Zimbabwe. Now beyond that, I remember quite a few of the questions were obviously Command & Conquer Rivals based and Armour Jet based. So we'll go through those in turn as well. And again, if you hear your question, please do drop it down in the comments below. Hey, that was mine, he answered mine. And I will try and give credit where credit's due. Now the most obvious one that was asked was, what is my favourite unit in CNC Rivals? Now I thought just giving one was a bit too simple. I think most people know it's Widowmakers is my most famous. Captain Benzie's favourite unit is the Widowmakers because I love spiders. I've always loved spiders. When I was living in the UK, I used to keep and breed and research various different tarantulas and specialised in what are called Southern African Harpactyrinae, or baboon spiders. Now, of course, I live in a country where those things are actually wild and around. And I am a signed-up research affiliate with the Natural History Museum of Bulawayo's Archaeology Department. So spiders. I'm actually wearing going to tilt that down, a Spider-Man shirt right now, because of course I am. So yeah, I like my spiders. Widowmakers being a spider-esque unit caught my attention. The fact that it made Nodtech viable at the time, the sounds they make, I know people hate that sort of screeching, squealy sound that they make as they walk along, but I love them. I love that they're cheap tech and that they melt infantry and do decent damage against aircraft. Widowmakers, 100%. For GDI, that's a bit more complex. Probably Grenadiers. Like, as simple as that sounds. Straightforward unit, and as I said, I loved them from the moment they were released, but dear God, they just keep getting buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed, and if you're not using Grenadiers in your decks by this point, you really, really should be. That said, the Shatterer has a very special place in my heart, purely for the voiceover lines, because who doesn't love an air horn and a DJ deck on a flying Sonic tank? So, a couple of other questions, like how did I get into Command & Conquer Rivals, and what's my history with the series? So for me, playing Command & Conquer, I actually used to play the original game, the original Command & Conquer and Red Alert back on PlayStation 1. I was never much of a PC gamer. I do apologise for the beeping. As I said, you guys are just going to have to deal with this. I'm getting all kinds of weird looks as people are walking backward and forward on the other side of the camera as well, but I don't care, I'm a weirdo. Getting weird looks is part of my daily routine. I started playing Command & Conquer and Red Alert on PlayStation 1, wasn't a PC gamer, just really enjoyed those. I was never particularly good at them either. This is like little 7, 8-year-old me. Like, I'm pretty sure at one point or another I had to start using the mission skip cheats in order to progress the storyline, and I had a little bit of a man crush on Tanya, a little bit of a boy crush on Tanya at that point in time. But I thoroughly enjoyed the games. I remember actually being so excited when I heard that Red Alert was coming out on PlayStation that I queued up outside my local Dixon's in tiny little hometown on the Kentish coast, and these guys were like, why on earth is this little kid waiting outside with his mum? And sure enough, I walk in and I'm like, have you got it? Yes, they did. They had Command & Conquer Red Alert. I was so happy. My favourite in the series, though, is actually Tip Sun. Tiberian Sun is my favourite of the series. By far, I love the storyline behind it. The cutscenes, to me, are some of the most... okay, we know that they're atrocious, but they're the best in the series at the same time. The characters, both GDI and Nodside, are fantastic. Obviously, McNeil is just legendary, and Oksana. Oh boy, if Tanya was a little boy crush for me. At that age, I had no idea what I wanted to do to Oksana. I just knew that it was something to do with those legs and the leather. Anyway, PG-13 channel. Thanks for that, kids. So whoever it was who asked that question, cheers. You may have just had me had the adverts removed for this video. But yeah, so that was my history of Command & Conquer. Now, I picked up a Razer phone back in 2017. It was just after the Razer phone came out. I needed a new phone. I needed to upgrade from my Sony Xperia Z3 after I dropped it down a toilet and then completely nuked it while trying to fix it. So I needed a new phone, and I ended up getting the Razer phone, and because of the Razer phone, I started playing a game called Vainglory. Now, I'm sure many of you will know Vainglory, or at least have heard somewhat of it. Their balance developer at the time was a guy called Nivmet, and if you don't know that name by now, you really should. Nivmet is the absolute genius behind the Command & Conquer Rivals balance team as well, and I know some of you disagree with some of the stuff, and heck, I disagree with some of the stuff, but in fairness, when I sit down and talk to Nivmet about it, he's usually like, well, yeah, I know, I get what you're saying, and I get where you're coming from, Benzie, but, like, this is the data we have. We see it being used like this, we see this many people using it, this is its win rate, these are the leagues we're seeing it mainly in, and we feel that it needs to have this. And in fairness, they're usually pretty good at trialing it, testing it, putting it forward, and so on. Anyway, I'm majorly digressing. Nivmet himself, he left Super Evil Mega Core, which is the Vainglory developing studio, and he kind of announced that, you know, oh, I'm leaving Vainglory, but hey, I've started work on this game called Command & Conquer Rivals with Redwood Studios. And so it was that I just kind of, I ended up jumping across with him. You know, Command & Conquer, I hadn't even seen the E3 reveal. I hadn't seen the E3 reveal, so I did a little bit of research, and then I looked at it and went, really? What? And it was closed beta. It was closed beta back then. That did not deter me at all. I started downloading the APKs, and I found a friend of mine found a guy who became a friend of mine who was in the beta, so every time there was an update and he got that, he would back up the APK, put it on his Google Drive and send it to me. So I wasn't even supposed to be in the beta, but hey, there we go. That's history. And I started originally actually writing a blog called Captain Benzie's Gaming Galleon, and I started just because I was seeing so much negativity about Command & Conquer Rivals online. Like, there were so many people hating on this game, just the trailers and stuff like this. And it was clear that these guys hadn't even picked up the game and tried it. So I wanted to start writing about it and telling people that actually this game's really cool. This is what it's like. This is what you can do with it. Give it a try. Give it a try. And the more I started doing that, the more I realised that the written word wasn't just going to cut it for me, and so I started to actually make videos as well. I only had my phone at the time, a little Razer phone, so I was recording it on the Razer phone. Well, you've seen the videos. I did it all on the Razer phone, and then a guy at EA called John reached out to me and said, look, we've seen your writing, we've seen your videos. Would you like to be signed up to the EA Game Changers? One thing led to another. I signed the NDA with them and got in on the debug build, and that's when I started making like the intel reports for the upcoming units. So I would sit there looking at things like recently the MSV, and I would sit there with a couple of others who have access to the debug build, just playing around with that unit and sort of really getting to grips with it, doing what I could, and trying to understand it, and then I'd throw a video together for that, send it off to EA. EA would just have a quick look at it and make sure that there's no swearing and that I'm not accidentally in the background revealing any other units, that kind of thing. I wasn't breaking the NDA. That would actually go live on YouTube for a while, just as unlisted, of course, so that they could review it. At which point, when I would get the alert that the article was about to go live, I would hit the big red go button and change it to public. That's when most of you guys would see it. And of course, Dance, bless her soul, amazing community support manager for Rivals, she started to actually put a link to my content in the Command & Conquer Rivals, in the game itself and in the articles. I think the first one that I actually got linked to was the Avatar and MG. I ended up doing both of those videos, and both of them were my first YouTube videos to hit 10,000 views, which was pretty awesome at the time. Obviously not many intel reports coming out these days. I've been super busy, I do apologise. We've been over this, we'll get there. But yeah, so that's how I got into Rivals and how I started doing what I'm doing, and I got not bored of doing intel reports, but I wanted to do more. I really wanted to support this community and just showcase this game as best as I could. So for me, it was important that I didn't just do like the tutorial videos, but in fairness, because of the latency I have in Zimbabwe, I mean, if those of you have sat down and watched my my community deck challenge videos, those you'll see, you can see the tap and then how long it takes the unit to actually respond and react. I am at a slight disadvantage. I'm not a top tier player by any stretch, so I know that people who want to watch gameplay videos are more going to go, sorry again for the beeping, are more going to go down to watching someone like Blade and that kind of thing. I've been always more on the teach you how to play and talk about the mechanics of the game, doing balance patch analysis, that kind of thing, just to keep you guys up to date on what's going on and what's working. Excuse me a second. Head cold's nearly gone, but not quite. And you can see where the beeping's coming from now. So, yeah, that's my Command & Conquer Rivals story. Now, obviously, Armorjet is my other major content on the channel. I had a couple of questions about that, which is mainly what's my favourite weapon in Armorjet. My most used is the Venom, but my actual favourite is the Ripper. I just struggle with it competitively. It's a very tricky weapon to get the hang of, but I love it. I love it so much, and I've got the... Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called now. The horror version. Bonesaw? Is it Bonesaw? Bonesaw Ripper, the one that's black and covered in blood. That one. That Ripper skin. And essentially, I really want to get that with the black and green Widow Blade, which I also have, but I just need now, finally, the Jackal... what's it called? The Jackal Underworld skin, the one that's red and black, and that sort of completes the look for me. But Armorjet was actually, again, that was a really simple one to get into. For me, while I was playing Vainglory, it all goes back to Vainglory. While I was playing Vainglory, I used to talk to a guy called Imperium. Now, you may know Imperium. He used to shoutcast a lot of Vainglory stuff. He's now actually a professional shoutcaster, shoutcasting a lot of PUBG mobile tournaments. And he's out in Kiev, and he's done some pretty big gigs. Well worth checking out. If I can, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel on screen now, up this side, probably somewhere, I don't know where. But he was playing a lot of Vainglory, I was playing a lot of Vainglory, and he was just like, oh, have you tried this game called Armorjet? Except it was more like, hey, have you tried this game called Armorjet? In a better Irish accent than that, admittedly, but that was kind of what he said. And so I just downloaded it and I tried it out, and that was back in the days when the game was so early in beta, you didn't actually have your own loadouts. You just loaded into a match, and it gave you 3 different loadouts that were random weapons that you could just try and play around with. So I've been with Armorjet for a fair bit of time, and again, while I was starting to make videos for Armorjet, Kima, one of the developers there, again, one of the best developers I've ever worked with there, community support manager, he's going to tell me if he's got a better name than that, I'm sure. Head of Moonbase Public Relations or something. Kima is the one who calls me his mobile gaming preacher. But we started talking, and he was very much like, oh, we love your content, we want to put you out there on our Google page and, retweet you and all this kind of thing. Kima and I get on like a house on fire. The guy is one of the safest dudes I've ever met. Like, seriously, he's solid beyond all recognition. And I've loved working with the Armorjet guys, just... The videos have been a bit tougher for me to make because, again, with the latency, historically, I've not been able to capture footage properly. That's always a difficult point for me, but I've had help from people like Lucas supplying footage. Bron has supplied a lot of footage for me in the past, and now that 1.7's here and my netcode seems to be a lot better, it's looking like I can actually gather my own footage. Sadly, I did lose a lot of it when I changed my Razer Phone 2 up. I'm still using a Razer Phone 2. If you can kind of see the thing here, you can see it set up. There. But ultimately, I had a bit of a problem with the USB-C connector at the bottom. Sent that off, they've sent me back a new one, so I'm using a brand new Razer Phone 2, so a lot of my old footage, sadly, didn't back up properly, but there we go. Anyway, I am now coming up, I think, towards the 20-minute mark on this little rambling rant. I know it's a little bit different, it's a little bit weird, it's just me sitting in front of a camera talking my absolute tongue out of my cheeks. Because ultimately the time is now, I'm trying to look at the thing, it's about 5 to 9, my gate doesn't get announced until 9:30. My flight then departs at 10:30, and that's down to Johannesburg. I'm slightly nervous at this because I land in Johannesburg at 10:25 in the morning, and my flight to Victoria Falls is at 11:25 in the morning, meaning I have to get off that plane, through the airport to the other terminal, clear immigration, so that they know that I'm not a big meanie, and then sprint through security down the departure lounge. I'm nervous because I have no concept of what happens if I miss that flight because I am broke and I do not want to get stranded in Johannesburg, of all places. I love Africa. I detest Johannesburg. Doing an overnight there might actually kill me, but there we are. Yeah, my phone is now telling me up here that I have just crossed the 20-minute mark. So those of you who have got this far, again, I say, I know we mentioned it the other day, there is going to be a little giveaway coming. I picked up a £10, it's not much, a £10 Google Play gift card while I was in the UK. I will be doing a giveaway event for that soon, so make sure that you are looking down below at all of the social details I have along the bottom of the screen here, especially for my Twitter. I know not all of you use Twitter, so if you don't, create an account temporarily, come find me on it, watch this space. I will be doing that giveaway very soon to celebrate my triumphant return to Zimbabwe. I don't know why, I just felt like doing it. Anyway, as I said, 21 minutes now of me rambling on. You guys, those of you who stick around until this point in the video to hear all of this, you are the MVPs. My Patreons are absolutely godly. Thank you guys so much. You are the legends that keep this ship sailing. Again, thank you for putting up with all of the beeping and noise in the background of this video. I love you all so much. I will see you in Zimbabwe, hopefully tomorrow. Assuming that, you know, this flight's not delayed and I don't get stranded in Joburg. Otherwise, happy sailing, guys, and I'll see you all soon.